Hello everyone and welcome to the Geek Cause. Another exciting week of gaming news, gaming information, and Kyle's life.
Yep.
The only thing that's important.
I actually have one now.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising.
Yeah.
You exist sometime before the afternoon.
I know.
And
I know, it's been a whole week. And it's a whole week that I've woke up before 11 every single day.
You know, I'm proud of you.
So am I. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been sitting here looking and being like, man, Kyle's doing something now.
I'm living my life.
He's living his life. He better be able to carry the show with something to talk about with things going on in his life now that he's actually doing stuff, and I'm still sitting here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, well, in talking about that, why don't you give us a quick overview of how things have been for you lately? Just right off the bat, right off the rip, we'll get what you got going on.
Right, well, I've finished my first week at my current employment.
Yeah, and what would you rate on a scale of 1 to ass? 1 being ass and the ass being good.
That's expected to be the other way.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, not quite ass, but a little bit away from ass. So I guess that means that it's good, but not great.
Yeah.
You know, it's as good as retail can be.
I mean, yeah. I mean, for first real job, though, I mean...
No, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, not much to complain about yet?
No, not yet, anyways.
You had to deal with irate people?
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. There's been many of those already.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What? Like, with what? Give me an example. Like, what you've had to deal with so far of someone being, like, just fuming.
There was...
At you specifically yet?
Not specifically at me, but just in general. So there was
Man.
this guy in looking at washing machines, and he was like asking about the price difference between an 8 kg washing machine and a 9 kg washing machine. I was like, the difference is, you know, how much it can carry, the load of the wash. And he's like, oh, well, in Harvey Norman's, we have this washing machine here, which is a different model than the one he was looking at. He's like, and it's only like 20 euro in the difference of the kg, whereas this one's nearly 100 euro in the difference. And it's like, well, yeah, because it's a different make and model. And he was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. So it went on for 10 minutes of just that back and forth. And he's like, no, I don't think you're getting it. And I was like, no, let me say it really clearly. So he was looking at a Samsung washing machine.
Uh-huh.
And he was looking at like a Beko washing machine. Beko would be, you know, the cheap one.
Right.
And Samsung would be like the most expensive.
Yeah, like what Beko is like probably like the store brand bought a company that can produce washing machines, and that's just like their brand.
Yeah, pretty
almost.
much, yeah. And he was like, well, the two Samsungs differ in 1 kg, but the price difference is different than the two Bekos that differ in 1 kg. And I was like, yeah, that's because it's a different make and model. Beko's cheaper to produce. If just because it's a kg, the difference, the hardware inside the Samsung's different because there's so much computerized stuff in it that they have to rebuild the entire inside of it to compensate for this extra kg. And he was like, that's not what I'm asking. I was like, you're asking what the difference is. Why is one different and one's not?
I think he's confused because he thinks that you're trying to. I think he was trying to think. I think he thought you were trying to compare Samsung and the brand that you were talking about, when what you were saying is Samsung's different makes would cost differently because they still have different parts, and so that drop in a kg is a bigger difference than a drop in kg between...
Because that's what I was doing at first, and then I realised, oh, maybe he's just confused with what I'm saying. So I specifically said that I'm talking about the two Samsungs here in comparison, and then comparing them to the two Bekos. Why the difference between the two Bekos is smaller than the two Samsungs. Why that gap is different. So I specifically had to, like, break it down bit by bit and go to each washing machine and explain it to him at each one.
So what did it come to a resolution?
At the end, when I finished my little rant, he just went, oh yeah, okay, and wrote some stuff down on a bit of paper, and then started asking about a completely different washing machine.
People are weird. It's so stupid. Like how like people just don't seem to grasp the concept of like anything.
Yeah,
like it's the big reason why people I don't think they understand is like if there's a price difference between something. Do you want to know what the actual reason is? In more cases than not, because that company wanted that to be the price for that. That's literally most of the time what it is. Like, I mean, like, to be honest, half of the price comes from the brand name of it. Everybody already knows that.
When it's something small, like, say, Beko or Hoover, the store has a lot of leniency with what they can charge on it. Hence why when it sells, they're usually the ones that go on the really big offers. But if it's something like LG or Samsung, usually there's like only 20% change in like sales.
Yeah.
Because the companies are going, we only want it to drop as low as this as a minimum.
Well, exactly. And plus the simple fact that they're like, we're Samsung, everybody knows us, you know it's a trusted brand.
Yeah.
Even if the inside parts are the exact same as this other one.
We can still charge €400 more.
Because you know that we're Samsung and we're poor. It's like going to the store and getting like designer jeans, right? When you can go to a different store and get the same exact jeans. And I'm not saying all of them are, because there are designer jeans that use better quality material.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm saying if you were to go somewhere and get like, here's penny jeans, right? Like these jeans right here, and you could go to a different store that just sells like is a more well-known brand, and they could lift up the same jeans and they could still be 100% cotton. It could be the same everything else, and it would just be $20 or 20 euros more, and it's because that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Because they want it to be that, because they know that's I think I hate when people ask, why is this more expensive? Because it is.
It just is.
Because they wanted it to be.
It's like, do you want me to go and like get into the hardware aspect of it? Like how much each individual part of the washing machine costs in comparison for the companies?
That wouldn't even be the case. It's actually just a matter of like, well, why are you charging more for this? And it's like, because we buy this from the company that manufactures it for a certain percentage above what the price that they like sell it to us for. So if we're buying, what did you say, Beko was the brand of it? If we buy that if they sell it to us for €100, then we sell it with a markup price of a certain markup, so 150, let's say, so that way we make a €50 profit. If we buy something from Samsung for €400, they sell it to us for €400, we're going to mark it up and we'll sell it for $450 to $500, so we get 50 to 100.
It's how you make money in a business.
It's called, it's more expensive because we had to buy it for more expensive, so we have to sell it for more expensive.
Yeah.
If I bought everything for €5, then yeah, I could sell everything for 10, so I can make a €5 profit. But that's not how
it works. It'd be great if it worked that way.
I wish everything sold it for the same price.
It would just be so easy.
But that's just not the case.
No.
Anyways, sorry for going on this rant about retail and stuff. I know probably nobody cares, but there's a good amount of retail workers out there, and they understand my frustration.
That would be like, oh, relatable.
Relatable. I'm surprised you haven't got yelled at yet.
No,
it usually happens. You usually get your first bad thing where you get yelled at for something that you have no control over within like the first month. Oh yeah.
No, I'm waiting for
month or two. You'll get something where they'll be like, maybe it's because right now it's like you have something that says like training or whatever like that.
Yeah, my badge where it has my name on it. It says staff and training underneath it in really small writing.
But the minute that's gone,
I'm screwed. I know.
you're just gonna be looked at as a dickhead no matter what you do.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it because I'm in this evening late because they're doing a on the spot sale just to compete with Harvey Norman's. That's like 3 stores down. Because Harvey Norman's having a big clearance sale, but they're like, then we're just going to open till 10 anyways, just to spite them. So either no one's going to come in, or a crap load of people are going to come in, and we only have...
Do you have like sale signs set up, like talking about like this?
We have like markers on all the objects that have been marked down, but we have a list, like a big list of all the things that we have that are been marked down, and then the ones that are in stock are actually highlighted. So it's like, I know for a fact someone's going to come in and pick the one thing that's not in stock and flip the lid and be like, oh, then why is it marked down if you don't have it? And it's like, well, we do have it, just not here.
Oh yeah, different stores. That's always a good thing too. It's always, you sell this in this place. How come you don't have it? Can you ship it here? No. Like, I mean, like, I know most places nowadays kind of can, but like, it's funny because people just don't seem to understand, like, how come you don't have this? How come you have a sale but you don't? Oh, it's so frustrating.
It's like we stock stuff on the website that we don't stock in store because it doesn't sell in store, so we don't keep it in store. We keep it in the warehouse.
Or it's just something that doesn't sell often, and so why would I keep a running total of it of something that's just going to sit there because it doesn't sell very often when I could have that space reserved for something that sells a lot?
Yeah. So people would come in with the website and be like, "Oh, I want to pick this up," and we're like, "Yeah, you can only get that through the website. It says it on the website." That you have,
online only.
That you have to like click to reserve it. You're given a date of when it'll be dropped into the shop, and then you come in and get it. Or you just buy it straight up from the website and have it delivered to your house.
But I drove 40 minutes to get here. That's like, what they always say, stuff like that. It's like, I'm
it's
sorry.
mind-boggling.
I'm sorry, but you should have done your, did you look?
The closest thing I got to being yelled at was a woman came in and asked me, do I know anywhere nearby where she can get coffee?
And you said no?
And I was like, I'm not from Nace, so I don't really know, sorry. And she was like, oh, for Christ's sake, and walked out. It's like, you came into PC World and asked the staff in training where to get coffee.
Use your phone.
Like,
do you not have phones?
In like an industrial park as well. So it's like a B&Q and a Used, which is like a IKEA, and Harvey Norman's and PC World and a carpet place.
You should just be like, yeah, in the back we got some, but it's only for employees.
It's like if you literally go like down the road and take, not even down the road, if you drive in a straight line from where you leave, straight line, you reach the town, and there's cafes everywhere.
Listen, if I don't have to ever work in retail again, I'll be fine. The good days are good, but the bad days are bad.
Yeah, there's no middle ground.
Yeah, there's no middle ground whatsoever.
That's why I'm hoping no one comes in this evening.
Well, see, but that's the thing too, though, right? Is like you always wish, like, oh man, I hope it's so slow. But then you think about it, and you're like, but if it's so slow, then there's no business, and if there's no business, then I don't have hours. If there's no hours, I don't have a job. So
it's true, yeah.
And so it's like you fall into this trap where it's like, I hope it's busy today, but I hope that there's no issues. But I also hope that I don't work that hard. But I also hope that I work hard enough where I'm not bored.
Yeah,
and then
you want a good balance. You want a sweet middle ground where like just enough people come in. And I'm busy enough that time doesn't go really slow, but I'm not too busy.
Yeah.
But then we get enough business that the company doesn't go under.
Retail.
Oh,
am I right, guys?
Yeah.
This is actually the retail podcast.
Hashtag relatable.
Well, I'm glad that we figured out your dilemma for tonight.
Oh, yeah. I look forward to it. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, just, send me constant updates through email.
I'm only in for
email.
4 hours as well, so...
Yeah, it'll be exciting. 4 hours of just...
Probably just standing there. Can't wait.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Exactly.
Well, Kyle, I'm glad that you have such an exciting life, because on the flip side, this week, I've done nothing exciting except for coursework, and, oh, wait, no! Oh. I beat the Outer Worlds.
Oh, you have to beat it.
I beat it.
I've still yet to beat it. I have no time.
Well,
so sad.
I beat the Outer Worlds. I can give my official little rating on it. I'll do that real quick. I hit max level.
Yeah.
I did all the companion side quests. I did any side quests that I could find, which is, I think, a lot of them. Completed the story, did it on hard mode. I only got roughly 20 hours of gameplay, so I was a little surprised. I thought I'd get at least 25, 30. On Twitter, I kind of talked about it a little bit, but I got about 20 hours, almost, I think a little under it, actually. I was a little upset that it was so short, but the game itself, I think, was still fine enough that I accepted that, and plus there's room for DLC.
It was short, but what you got was satisfactory.
Yeah, exactly. I will say that based on the ending, I don't know how they would present DLC in the form of like additional story content, because it seems pretty finite how it ended with what it told me, like everything it told me, unless it's a completely different storyline with your main character.
I suppose when you look at things like Fallout, it ends and it's like, oh, this is the definitive ending and all these things happen in the future. But it hasn't happened quite yet, so go run around the world.
Yeah, like, except for you don't run around the world when you complete this. It's done.
Is there not? It's like, it's just like
done.
New Vegas.
Yeah, it just ends. So I don't know how they would do additional content unless it's like before before your final.
Probably, yeah.
But I don't
probably
think
like New Vegas.
That wouldn't be smart though. I don't think that'd be smart at all if you did that, because then it's like, well, then you have to do the whole ending part after doing everything else, and it's all the same. So you're completing the DLC, just you wouldn't even do the ending again unless you're starting the whole game over. I don't know. It seems weird. I would like it if it was just like a whole, maybe even if it was just a separate story. Maybe I would be fine if it was just another 20 hours. Of something, of just like, even if it was main story,
just more
20 hours, or even 10 hours,
very possible.
I'd be fine with that. But yeah, I was disappointed in the length of the game. I definitely think that they could have just maybe made it a little bit longer, maybe, like I said, an extra 5 or 10 hours. And if it was a matter of me not doing enough side quests or something, that I didn't get enough, so that's why I didn't get as many hours, I'd be fine with it. But, I hit max level, and I was playing on hard difficulty. I did everything related to companions. Like, I don't know what other side quests that I could have done unless I talked to every
single person.
Every single person and exhausted every single dialogue choice. But there's some people that just aren't that interested to talk to.
Yeah.
In any game, it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to have the NPCs that are like, I don't,
don't want to talk to you. Yeah.
So I think at a push, I could have gotten like maybe an extra 2 hours if I maybe ran around talking to every single person, trying to find every single thing.
Yeah.
But I overall though, the game was great. I think the ending was really good. It was a pretty good ending. The resolutions for everything were pretty good. Like I'm happy with everything. It was kind of like the same like New Vegas, I think, where you talk.
Does it have the cliche Fallout slideshow ending?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I care about. That's all I care about.
That's what I was about to say. It's like the slideshow ending, but that's what I'm talking about, where everything was kind of finite in what they were talking about. Like there's not much continuation for anything. So overall, though, they
could pull a Fallout 3 on it, or at the end of Fallout 3, you technically die, and then they released the Broken Steel DLC, which is like, hey, JK, you didn't die.
Maybe. I mean, if they did that, that'd be fine. It's like you could import your save or something like that for your choices, and then you just like if you started off on like a new, even if it was like I said, 10 hours of a DLC, and it was just what you ended up doing after everything, or
throw in a few new planets or something.
Get like maybe 2 or 3 new characters that you could have in your squad.
Yeah,
like, enough where like you have a full party of 3 if you went like a party build.
Yeah,
but you could switch between like one or the other. I think it'd be interesting. But overall, I'd say it's a good game. I still stick with I would say 8 out of 10 for my like review of my full review of it. Not much to complain about, just the hours, and I mean, I think it's a good game. If they surely they gotta be coming out with DLC for it,
yeah? Oh, 110%.
I haven't heard anything yet, and I know that
the game's just out,
right? And I know that like a lot of people hate it when people announce that there's DLC coming before the game comes out. But like, you think after a week they'd be like, "Oh yeah, there's definitely DLC planned. Like, we just we wanted you guys to enjoy the game first before we talk about it." But I can't find anything of them even mentioning DLC at any point.
Maybe they're just giving it time.
Yeah. So, I mean, be nice to see that. I'd probably play the game, like I said, one more time through a Supernova run.
Yeah.
I'll probably enable quick saves if I can find a way to get like a mod or something that can do that. Just because, I would hate playing that game without quick saves. Because when you die,
going back to your last save point as a whole.
And the problem is you have to save in beds, which for other games, it's not that bad. But for this game, I can count on maybe 2 hands how often I actually paid attention enough to even see a bed.
Yeah, I don't know fast travel. The only fast travel that's enabled is to your ship, I think.
And like, it's just, So we'll see how I do. I'm going to give it some time before I do that.
Yeah.
I started up, playing, because on Game Pass they have like My Time at Porsche or whatever like that. I was like, oh man, I'll play a little fun little farming simulator game or whatever. Like I was expecting what it to be, but it's completely different than that. It's like a crafting. It's like you're like a workshop owner that can also do farm stuff, and like you also fight and you also dive.
Jack of all trades.
It's interesting, and there's like 4 billion characters in it.
It's more than you expected.
And I was like, I did not expect this game to be this expansive. I was like, I just thought it was gonna be like a little fun romp, and I can like just chill out when I'm playing it.
But no.
But it's like, no, I can chill out while playing it, but it's like way more in depth. There's like you level up and you get like a skill point system, and there's like 3 different trees that you can choose from for skill points.
Damn.
There's like, you talk to people and you have like the ability to, like the standard give them gifts, talk to them. But like you also can learn what their gifts, you only learn what gifts they like by giving it to them first, and then it like pulls up on their like status page about what they like. It has like, it has like information about like just like random shit. And there's, like I said, there's combat, there's mining and ruins, and then you can like rock, paper, scissors with people.
Game of the year.
Yeah, it's the best game ever.
I think every game should have a rock, paper, scissors mechanic.
Yeah.
There you go. For Outer Worlds DLC, add a rock, paper, scissors mechanic.
If there's not one in it, I give the game,
it's like instead of speech,
3 out of 10.
Yeah, instead of speech checks, it can be like, well, rock, paper, scissors for it. And it's just RNG then at that point.
God, that'd be great. But other than that, yeah, no, I had nothing exciting to talk about. Today, while you're at work doing that stuff, I will probably be studying.
Ooh.
Anyways, off of our boring subjects about ourselves and onto the thing that everyone came here for, the news. The gaming news.
The new news.
The new news of the gaming news. And we're going to start it off really hot and heavy and hard.
BlizzCon.
And well, we'll just talk with BlizzCon as a whole, but we're going to start off with it with the obvious bad parts of what you expected, because it's Blizzard.
Yeah, it has to be bad parts now.
But the beginning open ceremony, we had Blizzard's president come out. What's his name? J. Allen Brack. He came out with his nice rockin' ponytail.
Yeah.
And addressed the controversy around Blizzard and Blitzchung and all that we've talked about extensively.
Yeah.
So he came out, and I'll go real quick. I'll talk about I'll give a little excerpt of what he said. We moved too quickly in our decision making, and then to make matters worse, we were too slow to talk with you all. When I think about that, what I'm most unhappy about, there's really two things. The first one is that we didn't live up to the high standards that we set for ourselves, and the second is that we failed in our purpose, and for that, I am sorry and accept accountability. So he goes through talking about how they didn't take accountability, they reacted too fast, and that they're going to be better in the future, and that they're committed for everyone's right to express themselves, and that they're going to, instead of talking about what they are going to do better, they're going to show it. And then after saying that they're going to show it, he refuses to actually specifically encounter Blitzchung and the casters, what happened with them. He never actually mentions it, and then doesn't change anything with their decision making. Leaves the 6-month ban going, leaves on both Blitzchung and the casters, and glosses over. So
it's like, I'm gonna say sorry, and I'm gonna accept accountability, but then I'm going to try ignore it as hard as I can.
Well, literally what it was is he said, we're gonna stop talking about how we're gonna be better, and we're gonna do it.
But then they did nothing.
And then instead talks about what they're gonna do better, and then doesn't do anything to change it. And to top it off with that, afterwards, the president had a interview with, I think it was PC Gamer or someone like that, and they asked him more specifically about the caster situation, because people are upset more so about the casters than anything,
because they didn't do anything.
They weren't involved. And he goes on to not to give a no answer. Literally it was just so PC Gamer asked, I wanted to revisit the statement you made at the beginning of the opening ceremony yesterday. You said Blizzard is committed to everyone's right to express themselves in all kinds of ways and places, and that you're going to be better going forward, and your actions are going to be louder than words. Are you going to repeal the punishment against Blitzchung and the 2 Taiwanese casters involved in this incident? And he straight up just says, we are not. And when asked why, he goes in this long speech about, we talked about the commitment of expression is important, and all this stuff. They're afraid to say and do whatever they want on their social channels, but when it comes to our streaming and esports stuff, we want people to stick on topic of the official broadcast. So, he goes through all this huge thing, talking about why they're not going to do it, and without actually addressing that. And so basically they asked him, so Blizzard's perspective is that, of course you want players to express themselves, except for when it's taking place through official channels. So, basically, express yourself in your own personal life as much as you want.
But not through our stuff.
Which, fair enough.
Yeah, that's
I get it.
Grand. You want to keep your, channels and stuff focused on what it is. You don't want to get too political. Understandable.
And so, we all get that. But what we don't get is why the casters, who didn't
do anything,
express themselves on the politicals, front on the official channels, why they were still acts and why they don't get it. So, they went on to ask, hey, if Blitzchung had said any political message, would have incurred the same punishment? And they're like, yes, it has nothing to do with China. There's many of people that are supportive of him and his message. It's just he shouldn't have done it on our channels. And so they were like, all right, fine, fair enough. PC Gamer said, fair enough. We get that. One thing that we're curious about, though, is that the Taiwanese casters have been downplayed a lot in this whole thing about their role. Yeah, they've kind
of been ignored.
Because they're like, we've been in contact. They were actually in contact with one of them, and they're frustrated because they have nothing to do with the thing. And the president came out and said, I mean, this is literally like a Trump-style way of addressing the stuff. With starting off with, I think we have a long history of long relationships with a lot of different casters. Not related to anything going on. And then it says, it's clear that the goal is to have the broadcast move forward and be about the games. And it's like, you're not addressing about
you haven't answered the question.
And then it says, we considered with these casters that they're hired by Blizzard to do a job, and in this case, that job is to keep the broadcast focused on what it needs to be focused on, which is the games, the winners, and the stories coming out here. They were not successful in their job, and this is how we made the decision on that. How could they have done anything differently to have it be focused on the game and what's the message?
They're the casters. They just sit behind the desk with their microphone and talk about things. It's like they're not in control of like the cameras.
No,
that like swapped over from them to Blitzchung. They're not in control of any of that. They're not in control of the broadcast itself. They're just like presenters. They have no control over that.
they can't control that. Now, maybe they could have said like, oh, don't talk about that, don't talk about that, don't talk about that. But like, what would that have mattered? In any sense of the word, when the cameras are still pointing.
If anything, that would have been worse.
On. Like it's instead they're just getting in trouble because they're a byproduct, and that's how the Chinese sort of business people work. Is like, if you're even involved remotely with whatever we don't like, then we're gonna stop dealing with you.
Yeah,
and it's bullshit. So you have this where the casters aren't being addressed properly; they're just ignored. You have a bullshit response to that, and then PC Gamer came right out and said there's a suspicion that China and Chinese businesses have an influence on your decision. That the statement Blizzard made. Can you confirm for me, for the record, whether NetEase or any of your Chinese partners didn't have any sort of influence? So I'll cut this part down because I don't feel like going in his long-winded response. But there was the Weibo Twitter account for Hearthstone. They basically, the president goes on to explain how NetEase is a partner. It's a company and not a government agency. We're not allowed to publish things in China. They publish the things in China. We have our stuff, and then we basically give them the ability to post stuff in China.
Right.
They were in conversations with the issues, but they weren't the main deciding. Like it wasn't like they were the main deciding factor. We had stuff about it, and he said that basically when it came to the Weibo post talking about the pride of China, that was written by NetEase. And that they did not authorize it. They did not approve. Like Blizzard did not authorize, approve, and they would not have proved if they had asked. But they didn't have them remove it. They didn't have anything like that happen.
They didn't try to do anything about it.
Apparently, Blizzard just has no. They said like they have no control over that account though, they gave them the right to whatever. That's kind of bullshit though.
But it is China, so it is kind of believable.
It makes sense, but you know how you stop that? You stop giving them the right to your...
You cut off that pipeline.
Yes, you cut that off, and you say, well, now you can't have access to a Chinese... the Chinese Twitter.
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore because you said something that you weren't supposed to. But literally, all that Blizzard said is that they're not cutting anything back. They just... And they don't think that they did anything wrong with the 6-month penalty. They just wish they would have been more graceful about it all, instead of being, like, complete shitheads about it.
Which, if they were more graceful about it, this probably wouldn't have been a big thing. If they gave them the 6-month suspension, it would have been like, oh, that's not really fair. But after a week, people would have forgot about it.
If they would have came out and said, like, listen, we're giving a 6-month suspension. Here are the reasons. Like, we're sorry about, like, what happened, but going forward, this is what it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
And if that would have been it, people would have been like, whatever. But instead, they went through it and
so much worse.
They banned for a year, banned everybody for a year, took away his prize money, said, F these people pretty much, and it just wasn't... Listen, it's about grace, but it's also just the fact that it's stupid.
Oh, it's so dumb.
A 3-month ban would have been more sufficient and been like, you have 3 months now that you can't do anything. The casters, they get a warning saying, like, if this comes up, like, you have to do something better with trying to cut it off. You have to at least try, but, like, you had nothing to do with that. Like, you weren't the ones that said it, so we're not going to ban you, but here's a warning. You have to be better at it.
Yeah, that if it happens again on your clock, some accountability will come to you.
Yeah,
this is a warning. We're letting you know this is what you should do in that situation. And if you don't do it next time,
then you're going to be in trouble for it.
Yeah.
So it's not just grace. I definitely think it's about what they chose to do. And we're just going to have to wait and see how long it takes for Blizzard to either fuck up again or hopefully be better than what have been. I doubt that's gonna happen. Companies left and right are just fucking up because they aren't paying attention. They're not reading the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just kind of doing things and looking around and going, "What? What's wrong with that?"
whether you believe in something or not, and I know that sounds shitty to say, but whether you believe in something or not, whether it be good or bad or whatever, you have to. If you're going to be this big corporation, you don't want backlash, then you're just gonna have to agree with your consumers because as you as a company, that's the only way you're gonna get through anything and not have hassles. Now, I'd prefer everybody be on the high road and be good and like and morally right.
Oh,
and
of course, but like,
companies
that's
will
never going to happen. Yeah,
no, it's all about money. So if you want to not have to deal with these issues and you want to still make money good and not have backlash, then just
listen to your consumers.
Listen to your consumers. It's as simple as that. If you don't want to be a bad guy, then listen to your consumers. Yeah. And if like investors or whatever get upset, that sucks. But you still have your consumers,
you still have
your consumer market will enlist other people to want to be investors because you might lose some investors that don't like the way you do it.
Yeah,
but then other investors will see the amount of consumers that you have and be like, "I'll stick with that."
Ultimately, it'd be like if something happens and like the community's like, "No, we don't like this," and you're like, "Okay, I'll go with the community," and investors are like, "Well, screw you, we're pulling out." A bunch of people will go, "Well, good on you for sticking on your guns even though your investors threatened to pull out. Because of that, we're going to help you."
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you did a good thing, so we're going to give you that helping hand because they were douchebags, not you.
Exactly. And plus...
It all balances out in the end.
Plus, if you think about it, like... And even if you never got any of that investor, like, money and or support back, if you lose 5 million of 100 million, are you really in that bad of a position?
Yeah.
No. Maybe you can take that loss to make yourself look better to consumers, so that way they continue to at least give you the same amount of support that they did before.
And if anything, doing that though, like taking that hit, even if it's really small to the company itself, but even if they make it out to be a little bit bigger than it is, that would cause an influx of support.
Yes.
Because it'd be going, you're taking a hit for your company for a moral standing.
Exactly.
And people love that. They drink that up so they do.
Like, would you rather lose 5 million, but then have the same or maybe more support from your consumer base so you could make some of that back or stay the same or go over it? Or would you rather you keep that 5 million from investors, but consumers hate you, so now you lose 10 million from them, or even just say that you lose 5 million from your consumers base of 5 million people, 5 million dollars that won't be like invested by consumers, and then because you lose a consumer base, you lose some else of your investor base because they're like, you don't have as many consumers as you did before.
Knock-on effect.
So now you have 10 million gone instead of the 5 million you could have lost because you didn't listen to your consumers.
Pretty much.
That's all it takes.
It's not that difficult.
No, it's literally, it's called
using your head.
Using your head with smart business instead of very short-term business.
Yeah.
You're thinking of short-term profits instead of long-term profits.
And you should be thinking long-term.
Yes,
for something like Blizzard, for something that big.
For something like gaming, it's all long-term. You get the short-term in, you get the people in, but like the long-term is what keeps people like consistently buying from
unless you're some like really, really small indie studio that's all completely self-funded. Yeah, you should think short-term because you don't have the money to think long-term. Yeah. But when you're pulling in millions of billions every year, it's like you have no excuse.
Well, it's like anywhere, even in a retail environment, like we're talking about it from before. Like, there's a reason why you're supposed to treat your consumer base when they come in as friendly, nice, and like approachable.
Yeah,
so
they come back.
So they want to come back because it's a long-term investment. Sure, you could be a dickhead, and then they just come in and they buy what they need and then leave, and maybe they will be back because you're the only person that sells that, right?
Yeah. That's called having a monopoly, though. That's only few companies have that.
Right, but when they go in and they buy that, are they gonna stick around and look and buy other stuff? No, they're gonna go in and just get what they need to get and get the fuck out of there because they don't want to deal with you because you're an asshole. Or they'll just go to a different business where they're nicer.
Exactly.
That's why everywhere it's all about long term. And the fact that Blizzard just doesn't seem to understand this after how long they've been in business is really just... It's weird, isn't it? Yeah. It's so weird.
You think they would have learned by now? Or at least someone up there would know? At least one person?
Yeah. Well, they probably do, but they just don't have enough of a voice.
Yeah.
But going in from, some bad news with BlizzCon, we're going to go into some more positive stuff. So some stuff that actually seems worthwhile.
Yeah.
That one of those things being... Hearthstone Pro, I think it's Leon, won the BlizzCon title of a Hearthstone championship, and was the first woman to win a BlizzCon title in any game tournament at BlizzCon, and the first woman to win a Hearthstone tournament.
Yeah, that's pretty damn cool.
I mean, she didn't just win, she swept. She won 3-0 to the second place.
She dominated.
She did. It was amazing. And I think this is just good representation in terms of, like, showing that the female esports, like, player base and pro players and stuff.
It's very much there, alive and growing.
Yes. More and more. Like, I have, there's a streamer that is a friend from high school that I grew up with. And she is probably the most, the most invested into, like, trading card games, whether it be paperback or online, that I know in real life. and like, it's something that, like esports in general are just growing.
Yeah.
I can't think of her. Let me find out her Twitch name real quick so I can plug it, because I feel bad talking about her without giving her a plug. Because always listen to the podcast, so gotta give. This Deck is Trash. So she streams on twitch.tv/thisdeckistrash. But yeah, she's just super into all trading card games, and she streams them all the time. So if you're into that, go check her out. But, like, it shows, though, with the amount of people that you see in the, especially, like, I feel like trading card environments, it's very popular to see females. Maybe it's because women are smarter than men, so they can handle the
that they can, like, deal with these, like, very specific, like, numbered card bills really easy.
But it's just cool seeing that there's more representation coming. Like, there's, in terms of first person shooters, there's a couple female pros now that are in sports teams, or whether they're in sports teams or they're part of a team, but they don't, like, work competitively, but they do, like, their team that does, like, the Twitch streams and stuff like that, and they're really good.
Especially seeing games like CS:GO and stuff like that, it's very much on the upcline.
Yeah, it's just cool. I think this just shows, though, that just follow what you want to do.
Yeah.
Whether you're a man, woman, just follow what you want to do and just do it. Like, esports is, I was talking to Kyle, and, like, pretty much you have to look at it and stop and think. Esports is the one sport where it doesn't matter what sex you are.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're taller, faster, stronger.
No, it's all just mostly twitch reflexes, brain power of thinking, communication, and dedication. That's all it is.
Yeah. Anyone can literally do this. Anyone. And
so, if you like gaming and you like doing that sort of thing, and you're, man, woman, or anything in between, like, do it.
Yeah.
Don't listen. I mean, Leon even said, after winning, came out and, like, they asked her like, thought process on the whole thing. And she said, for all the girls out there that have a dream for esports competition, for glory, if you want to do it and you believe in yourself, you should just forget your gender and go for it. But I'd even one up that, and I say, no, know your gender, and be like, I'm shitting on these kids that think that they're better than me because of my gender.
Own that shit.
Yeah.
If people are saying that you can't do it because of your gender, point out the fact that, I'm this gender and I'm kicking your ass.
Yeah, like, I'm kicking your ass, so you were clearly wrong.
But you're telling me that a girl can't do this, well, this girl just went 3-0 on your ass, and look at me.
Yeah, and
won $200,000.
It's just, it's cool to see, because, especially because it was, like, against people with, like, well-known names. Like, I know I've heard of Bloody Face before. That was the second place winner. Casey, I've heard before. I don't know about any of the other ones. I don't watch much, Hearthstone competitions, to be honest. I don't know much about the pro players. But, like, first prize, Leon won $200,000 for that. Like, do it. If you're good at it, or if you like doing it, or whatever, then just follow what you like doing. Streaming, competitive play, just playing at home. Don't let someone say to you, well, you shouldn't like this, or you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't be good at this, because it's this story is just another thing saying, like, there you go, smash some fucking stereotypes down.
Yeah, you do you. Doesn't matter what it is. If you want to do it, as long as it's legal.
As long as it's legal.
Yeah, I realize that statement, if you want to do it, just do it, isn't a good statement.
No. As long as it's legal and morally right.
Yeah. At the least morally flexible.
Speaking about morally flexible, we've gotten some other gaming announcements at BlizzCon, with one of those being Diablo 4.
Something I hear you're quite excited about.
I mean, I love the Diablo franchise. Everyone's been waiting for Diablo 4.
It's been leaked like a million times.
It should have been out last year announced, but instead we got Diablo Immortal, which, real quick, we'll talk on that. Me and Kyle watched the game. They released more gameplay. Looks like Diablo 3 on phone, but
worse.
But not as good, so
yeah.
No one's excited for that. So we're not even going to bring up more conversation on that because that's all we really have to say.
Because, why care about that when Diablo 4 just got announced instead?
So, the cinematic for Diablo 4 is like, what? Isn't it like 8 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, give or take.
It's give or take 8 minutes. It's dark as hell. It's creepy as hell.
It looks so good.
But it looks amazing. The cinematic looks amazing. The whole premise behind the story looks amazing with what they have.
Yeah.
It's exactly like it definitely goes to the darker roots of Diablo, and it looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
So with the Diablo 4, what we know so far is that the game is going to feature non-linear open world campaign. So basically, you can it's open world, kind of like an MMO almost in a sort of way, and you don't have to go down like a specific path necessarily.
You just kind of go wherever you want.
But you I'm assuming there's probably gonna be some sort of tether to certain storyline.
Oh yeah, like you have to go to a certain place to do certain things, obviously.
But it's open for you to go where you want, pretty much. It's not you're not locked out of it.
Yeah, you're not walking down
unless you're not strong enough. It's not what it comes down to. If something's like really tough, then obviously you're not gonna be able to get through it.
Obviously.
So it's open world campaign. You'll encounter other players out and about. So like basically it is like an MMO. You'll see other players killing stuff and stuff like
just
that.
Running about.
And based on like what you see of the gameplay trailer, it even looks like, depending on where you are or how you want to be or what's going on, there's some PvP elements to that. So if you see a player like out and about, and I'm assuming if you have PvP enabled,
yeah,
you can like just fight somebody and
cool.
just kill them.
I love when games do. I can't remember. I think it was Watch Dogs 2 did, and they called it seamless multiplayer. So you'd just be running around your world, and all of a sudden you turn a corner and you bump into another player randomly. And then if something happens, suddenly you're in this little PvP event where you're trying to murder each other.
Yeah.
It's like, I love games that do that, and more games are doing that, and I think it's a really cool way of doing multiplayer without kind of shoving it down your throat.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm upset because I do love the single player aspect of Diablo where you can just get on, grind real quick.
There probably is going to be an option for that, though, more than likely. They said there's not,
though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said that there isn't going to be, it's going to be multiplayer, like based. You're going to require an online connection.
That won't last.
You say that, but that's how Diablo 3 was, and it continued forever.
Yeah, but
you had to have an online connection. Like, you could make your game private.
But all it would take is people like to complain. Especially with Blizzard now. If people just start yelling again, Blizzard will start to panic.
if it has to be online, then I'm fine with it. But I really, really hope that like they at least give the option of having something more private, so that way you don't have to worry about it. But it is going to be cool in the sense of it reminds me of that Korean ARPG that came out. I can't remember the name of it, but that came out, and it was like open world, almost like an MMO sort of ARPG, where you went around and like it was more open world, and there's like world bosses and you can kill those. That's how Diablo 4 is going to be. Like if there's really tough world bosses, you guys can group together, you can kill it. You can do cool story mission stuff together. I'm assuming dungeons are going to be, based on what I saw, there's like over 100 dungeon types.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that like that's just with like certain layout types. And when you go into one, it's probably its own separate instance. So unless you're party with people, they can't join in with you.
They're going with you, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know for sure.
That's how I'd see it, because it'd be kind of hard to do it with a bunch of people just running in and out all the time.
Yeah.
It would kind of take away the effect of the dungeon.
But it does look cool having that sort of seamlessness there, where it's like, oh, there's other people out in this open world.
Yeah.
Like doing things, like killing things. I can come help them.
It'll make it feel like fuller and more active.
Now, in terms of the gameplay, we only got to see three of the characters that they have available. It's the druid, the barbarian, and the sorceress, whatever. And the gameplay looks pretty clean. I was talking with my buddy last night when we were excited about it, like just talking to each other about it, and he agreed with me that the gameplay looks a little bit more slower paced than Diablo 3, but my nose looks a little bit more slower paced than Diablo 3, but looks like it has more meat to it in the sense that you can't kind of like how Diablo 2 was, where like it wasn't necessarily always just super super quick, but it could be.
Yeah, if you do it the right way, it could be really quick.
But the meat of it isn't about like it's like there's weight to the stuff that you're doing. So instead of it just being like in Diablo 3, it was just you go through everything fast as possible. That's it. That's all you do. There's no reason not to, and there's no weight to anything that you're doing. Whereas like here, it seems like there's weight to how you kill things. So if you kill something, like you got kind of like in that sense where Diablo 2, if you killed something and you're playing like a really hard difficulty or like you're really underleveled and you're like going through something, you killed something, but you didn't focus on this sort of creature that does something specific, it one-shots you and you're dead. There's a meaningful choice. Whereas in Diablo 3, you have to having to stand next to something and waiting for it to slap the shit out of you to die, like, isn't always the best. You know, it's a mixture. And I think that the gameplay and the sort of art style is a mixture between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3.
Yeah. That's what we were saying before we went into this, that kind of seems like they've took bits and pieces from both of them.
Yeah.
And kind of put them in this pot and mixed it together to make something quite beautiful.
Definitely darker.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a darker.
100% darker.
I'm not talking about, like, just darkness level.
Like actual light level.
I'm talking about...
like your actual gamma setting.
the blood and gore and the scenes and everything.
Yeah,
the
atmosphere.
It feels like the atmosphere, like you're in a hellish world at some points, but then it also feels like you're in a beautiful world that had the potential to be, you know, beautiful, but is infested with a bunch of hellspawn.
That's how it should be.
Yes, exactly.
Because that's exactly what the world is.
Exactly. So it looks really good. There were some people that were complaining online saying that the graphics don't even look better than Diablo 3 and that they should have just released an expansion for Diablo 3. But I think that's the stupidest thing ever. Like, me and you both kind of agree that the game doesn't look the same graphically as Diablo 3. It has similarities in the graphic style, but...
Actual graphics-wise, like...
It looks way better.
If you're going into, like, the actual textures and things like that, it's way better.
It looks way better. The fact that you can zoom it, like, that I'm pretty sure the gameplay trailer, it was zoomed in and showing, like, certain, like, really close shots... Those were gameplay.
Yeah.
Because it's completely different than the cinematics. That was gameplay.
You can
level
spot
graphics.
it. You can tell when it's actually gameplay.
And it looks so, like, people talk about that, like, you know, whatever, like, you're stupid. Stop spouting shit. We're gonna get Diablo 4. Don't already start shitting on it. Like, shit on Blizzard all you want, but like don't shit on this thing that is looking really good so far.
Yeah.
And wait until we hear something that's actually bad about it before we start. You know what I mean?
So we've literally just got an announcement trailer.
An announcement trailer with some gameplay. It looks good. I'm excited. The druid's in it, which wasn't in Diablo 3, which means maybe they'll introduce all of the characters that weren't in Diablo 3, but were in Diablo 2. So, like, let's get Necromancer right off the bat. Like, don't make it DLC.
Yeah,
I hate that they're gonna make it DLC.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Like, make classes that we don't already know DLC.
Yeah,
like how you did in Diablo 2. Like
the brand new original classes. They're the DLCs, but the ones that we had in the last game should be in this game.
You can't take out classes, release a game and be like, oh yeah, look at this, and then be like, now the DLC, we're introducing classes that you all know anyways.
Yeah.
Like, you know what they should have done for Diablo 3? Made the Necromancer one of the main classes and made the Witch Doctor a DLC because he wasn't in it before. Like,
it'd be like Overwatch 2, which they also announced at this. We'd be like going, oh, get the game and get this new hero. But then if you buy the DLC, you get like Tracer in the DLC.
So and then going on from Diablo 4 and the excitement for that, we go into Overwatch 2, which I would say decidedly less excited about, but I know it'll be cool for some people.
I like the things that they're adding. So it's, as you can tell, Overwatch 2. It's Overwatch, but with a 2. Woo. And there's like some graphic upgrades. All the characters have got new outfits and have been redesigned. But as well as that, they're adding campaign missions, co-op modes, and PvE modes.
So basically, there's going to be a campaign and a PvE, a single player sort of thing. That and like you can also do it co-op. So it looks interesting in that respect. I don't know if that's worth buying another game, but whatever. I mean, the game when it came out wasn't $60. Wasn't it only $20? I think.
Yeah, it was really cheap.
It's really cheap. So if they did it for another $20 game, like I think people forget that Overwatch 1 was only like $20.
Yeah, it was really cheap
for the standard edition.
Because it was competing with a bunch of free-to-play versions of games like it.
Yeah.
Likes of TF2 and what was the other one? Paladins.
I think that having this is going to be revitalize Overwatch a little bit because it's kind of died off. And I don't think it's died off because of like necessarily the lack of content, but because the lack of like
it's just kind of stagnated.
Different content.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, when it comes to like the battle royales and stuff like that, people know that that's the content that it is, and they're fine with it stagnating. But when you think of a multiplayer game, you expect that's like a first-person shooter,
more game modes, a bit more diversity in it.
First-person shooters that are just first-person shooters need more diversity, because the game isn't based around being like a deathmatch. Or the game is based around being a deathmatch, but that's not a sustainable mode because those only last 20 minutes, and doing 100 of those in a day is completely different than trying to do 100 like PUBG or Fortnite matches where like if you die instantly, but if you're doing well, those are like 40-minute matches sometimes.
Yeah, and there's enough diversity in like battle royale games like that. Like you drop, it's like the weapon you get could be anything.
Yeah, I don't.
That mixes it up a little bit, so it's not that kind of same thing over and over again.
And you already know how we feel about battle royale, so it's not like we're trying to say that they're better.
Exactly.
It's just a simple fact of the matter is like you need a little bit more meat. And you need to release things, I think, more frequently. And Overwatch started to die off with their releases.
They stopped introducing like new heroes and stuff like that. And it was just, here's a new skin and things like that.
Well, they
event game modes and for Halloween.
Even worse is they actually did release quite a few characters, and they were continuing to release characters. But there was nothing gameplay wise though.
Yeah,
that was so like I started playing again for a little bit there, up until the whole Blizzard controversy, and I was enjoying myself because there was like 4 or 5 characters that I'd never played that were all there, and I was like, oh shit, like, okay, so I played, probably last time I played was probably like a year or so ago.
No, so there's a bunch of characters.
There's at least 5, there's at least 5 or 5 characters, I think it was like 4 or 5 characters that were, you know, new within a year or two, which isn't that bad. Overall, I don't think that's that bad for something that has like classes like they do.
Yeah.
But, in terms of gameplay, it was all the same. It was like I saw 2 or 3 new maps, but they're the same game.
Yeah,
they're the same game.
It's like even like something like if you're going to keep the game mode the same, if that's like you're going to be your bread and butter is going to be this game mode, you need to flood it with a bunch of new maps. Like the new Call of Duty has been data mined already.
Yeah,
and they found out that there's something like 38 unlisted maps.
Yeah, there's
which is ridiculous number. Which is like that's a good way to keep your game going if you're just going to keep game modes the same.
When it's that type of thing, is you need that. But see, the thing is like in those for like Call of Duty, you have like domination, capture the flag, search and destroy, free for all,
and then there's the game modes that are playlists of like it cycles through these different game modes rather than having to back out and change it and stuff like that.
Exactly,
where keeps you on your toes.
You need more of that, and the issue with Overwatch, I think, was just the fact that there were like a little bit different game modes. Like I think there's free for all. There was like 1-on-1 matches.
Yeah,
but like the popular game modes, like with some things that people always play, it's like you just push or you just hold a point.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, that's fine, but you need, like you said, you need to have a flood of maps and make the maps have points that are interesting and maybe have different ways of completing it.
Yeah.
Introduce it where there's a map where you can take 2 routes. Maybe one route has less checkpoint, that has less choke points for you, but it's quicker to get to the ending.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, you have more choke points as the pusher, so like the defenders aren't as good, but you have to go further, so like they have longer time to try and stop you.
Yeah. It's like that because like you started off with your push point and you go up and you come to like this little like diversion in the track. And, like, maybe the clock pauses for a second and, you know, the thing can stop be pushed back by the other team. And then you have to decide, we're going to go left or right with this.
Yeah.
Maybe this way is shorter, but it's more exposed. This way is longer, but we've better cover.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can make those choices as you go. That'd be cool.
Like, make it so it's a little bit more diverse. That's something, there you go, Overwatch. We just gave you a...
Great idea.
$1 million idea that would people would be like, wow, look at this is cool, it's creative. So what we know for Overwatch 2 though is, like you said, graphics a little bit better. The costumes have been like reworked. We have single player. There'll be skill points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That we know of in single player, but it makes me wonder
what's like a multiplayer. Will that have any overarching impact?
If they do it, and I think if they did it in multiplayer, like how they do MOBA games, where like you can increase certain, like maybe you start off a little bit weaker, so that way because hear me out, it would help with like if someone thinks a champion or hero, is overpowered. If you all start with like lower stats and it's like how like a MOBA does, like League of Legends or Dota, and then like you choose what gets stronger, then it means that
throughout the match.
That means that character has like certain buffs to those things. Like
that would be cool. So like say you're playing like Reinhardt or something, you want to be really defensive. You start off and just like this base like flat number. You play for a while, you die. And on your respawn screen, it's like, okay, I want to specialize in my defense, so I can get this. That gives me a percentage upgrade for that.
Right.
And by the end game of the match, it's like your character has reached the point where you'd expect it to be.
And if you have it happen during a match and you make it like easy to like choose, like it's not like you get like 4 million choices. You get like 3 things. Do you want to go more attack, more utility, more defense?
Yeah.
Like sort of thing into your character. And then you can upgrade like what's the defense, because they did that in Heroes of the Storm. Yeah. And I actually really enjoyed Heroes of the Storm because it allowed you to say, do you want this ability to have more attack? Do you want this do you want this ability to have this, or do you want this ability to have that? And you got to choose that, and on each level up you got to go through and you get to choose those things. It made it feel like, yes, there were things that were obviously clear winners for builds in terms of overall, but it made you, if you were getting steamrolled, you could be like, well, actually, if I just had my shield cover a wider area, then we would be better here because they're flanking at the sides really easily. So make it so I'll invest in points that make my shield better, last longer, and be wider, and we'll be able to actually hold these points better because they can't kill us as easy.
Yeah, so it's like, they've made their teams so they just do a ridiculous amount of damage and kill us all at one shot. Well, if we just focus our character on defense, it counters them. And that'd be really interesting in that kind of first-person experience.
Yeah, if they could put that into the multiplayer, like have something be reacted by that, it would also help with stagnation. This build, I'm going to go this type of character.
Every game would be somewhat different because your teammates would be doing something else, and the people you've been playing against would be doing something else.
And I think that's kind of what made Heroes of the Storm interesting to me, is the fact that, okay, so you didn't have items, right? But like, items generally on a character, you're always going to be built the same anyways, because that character needs to be built. Like, you have minor differences to kind of like flex in certain situations of maybe I'm a little bit more tanky. Yeah. But Here's the Storm, it wasn't like that. It was like, what do I need for this situation? Or what's going to help me be better at this situation? And I'll just roll towards that. And you felt like, even in that, the MOBA felt like each match could be different. Yeah. Like, oh, this person's so fast, I can't hit him with this skill shot. So if I build up this skill shot, I'm not really going to be able to do as effective as I could. Where it's like, oh, I can make this ability be better, though. Yeah. If I go this ability better, then that means I'm going to have that. So
that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
I hope to see that introduced in Overwatch 2.
And what they could do with that and have that be like a sect of game mode. So it's like, okay, we have 2 of every game mode. It's the exact same, only in this one, it's your traditional, just, Overwatch first-person shooter. But in this one, you have, like, your skills and stuff that you level up and build throughout the match. And maybe the matches are a little bit longer as well.
You call it, like, something like, skill point, something, RPG mode, whatever, anything.
RPG mode.
Like, just make it something interesting.
Evolve mode.
Yeah, there you go.
You evolve your character.
There you go. Overwatch evolved.
There you go. Boom.
Wow, we just need to start getting paid.
We really do.
Now, also, what I've ended up reading is that Overwatch 1, you'll be able to, like the Overwatch, you'll be able to play certain things with Overwatch 2, like in terms of multiplayer. Yeah. You'll play together still. It's just like you don't get the single player content, I guess.
There's still some crossover in it, yeah.
But, so like you won't be left in the dirt. Like if you only bought Overwatch, you can still play.
You won't get access to stuff. Everything, but the main,
kind of like how like map systems and stuff worked in Call of Duty, except for with this, maybe you just don't get to select the character that they get to choose. Maybe you just have like certain maps that you won't rotate into. Yeah. Which is frustrating.
So it's like you can still play with the people who go over to Overwatch 2 in the stuff that's still in Overwatch 1, just you don't have access to the stuff that's in.
Right.
Overwatch 2.
So I think that's cool.
That's a nice idea.
I'm not exactly like excited for Overwatch 2, but I mean I'm interested to keep an eye on it.
I'm curious about it. It sparked my curiosity.
If I hear a little bit more about it and it sounds like something really interesting, then I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it up. Maybe I'll play it.
Who knows?
I enjoy Overwatch. On from Overwatch, we also at Blizzcon got announced World of Warcraft Shadowlands,
Ooh.
the next expansion pack for World of Warcraft, and
no confirmation on whether this is the last one. No,
there's never no confirmation. But basically, all we got really was a cinematic trailer that shows Arthas, the leader of the Scourge, or the one that holds him back, I guess. Not Arthas. He's not Arthas now. I'm stupid. He's Bovir or something like that, I think his name is. He basically took over the mantle of the Lich King. We see the Lich King, but he took over the mantle so that way he could stop the Scourge from overrunning the world. Because that's how you end the Lich King expansion pack of Wrath of the Lich King, is by you beat the Lich King, but someone else needs to hold the mantle to control the Scourge, and so a good guy did it to stop them from being assholes. Now, we see a fight between Sylvanas, who has had an increasingly important storyline that a lot of people aren't very happy about because they hate that she's the main focus. But I would say about 30% of the people that hate it, at least, are neckbeards that just don't like seeing a woman in the role.
Yeah.
And then about 40% probably just don't like it because they're focusing too much on that one character. And then I would say 20% actually just don't like the story about it.
Yeah. I personally like it. I think it's interesting.
I think her storyline is interesting that they're able to keep it up so long, and it makes me just want to know
where's it going. Yeah.
What is her, plan?
What's her deal?
And what we found out is that she does the cinematic. She does a big old fight scene. She ends up, beating. She's super strong because apparently she has the powers of death now.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
She breaks the crown, the domination helm or whatever. And it causes Shadowlands to open up, which is a planes of existence where people that have been dying lately have for some reason their souls have been going there instead of actually truly dying.
So pretty much everyone who's died in the past while we're going to get to see again.
Yes. And according to what some speculation is this is like Sylvanas is doing this because she wants to try and stop the jailer or whoever's in the Shadowlands from being able to do that, because she saw that if that happens and she dies and she goes there, she's going to enter a world of damnation for the rest of her life. And she's trying to stop herself from, because she apparently might know that her time is coming soon, and she doesn't want to suffer for the rest of eternity.
Valid enough.
So she's basically doing it for herself, but claiming it's to help everyone else, which sounds about right. That's up her alley. So yeah, that's the story basically behind what we know about it. In terms of gameplay, the only thing we really know is that player level cap is being squished from 120 to 60. So that means no longer leveling up to 120 and feeling like, I'm such a high level, everything is 5 billion points of damage and you do 5 billion points of damage. It's going to be 60, and it's going to make it so basically, instead of constantly seeing, and constantly rising in power and be like, one attack does 9 million damage, it's going to be back to, that attack does 6k damage to that. And make it seem more realistic and not as just big, because there's no point in having those big numbers when they're all the same thing.
Yeah, it makes no difference, really.
Probably is going to make it so leveling's a little bit slower, but
a lot of people would prefer.
Yes.
Over just the ridiculousness of it.
But it's also going to just, I think, feel a little bit better, because whether it's fast or slow, hitting level 60 feels like a good point of level hitting, right? Whereas saying, I gotta hit level 120, I'm at level 100 right now, and it's you hit
level 100, you should feel like, I'm done.
Yes, that should be the absolute max point, 100 done. But that's gonna be nice. So a squishing of stuff means that everything just feels a little bit, it's gonna feel better when everything's going on. You're gonna feel less like an overpowered being, even if you are strong, and you're gonna feel more like just someone that's doing what they're doing. In addition to that, you're going to be able to level through any expansion instead of having to follow a set path of expansions. Now, me and you are taking this as
that instead of having to be go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 because you have to meet the requirements of it, it's more so just going, at this level, they're all available. You can do them all, or if you want to do the specific part of one of them, you can just do that.
And so I'm wondering if what it means is also, in terms of like if you're looking at it from story wise, if this next expansion is gonna like throw out like that progression of story sort of campaign and make its own thing where you're progressing through a new story of just this expansion story. So you know how like in the other expansions it's like you go like, here's the main story of classic, like vanilla. Then here's the story of like what you do in Outlands. It had some like everything still had some tie to the expansion because obviously when you're in like the Cataclysm destroy the world, so everything's a little bit different. Yeah. But like overall, you were still leading up to a certain point. I wonder if this is gonna make it so literally like all of it is like kind of a campaign of just like, all right, this is what's going on. The Shadowlands is opened up. You're progressing through this story. When you're going to the Outlands now, if you want to, you're going there because it helps benefit us figuring out about the Shadowlands. If you decide to go to
they've kind of just took them all and put them all on the same little playing field to build to the Shadowlands.
Exactly. And I think that's
rather than having it like the stepping stones going up, but they've brought them all to the one level with the Shadowlands just sitting above them.
Exactly.
Which makes me feel like this is building towards a big climactic end.
You think?
Because that's what you do at an ending. You make everything matter equally, take away what doesn't matter. Everything that's left is important, and equally important to build to the big thing.
And it allows you to kind of have that freedom of choice, kind of like how in, I mean, like, it's always kind of been in the game where you can, like, hit your max level, but, like, you always, when you progress through a story, you knew you were going to hit one thing.
Yeah.
Whereas when they came out with Burning Crusade, you pretty much, like, there's two areas where you could hit level 70 in. And you could choose what part of the side quest main.
Yeah, you kind of knew
story,
like
you could go where you want.
By the path of progression, you kind of knew where this was heading, anyways.
Yeah, it's like okay, it's like either like how everything expansions have been before is like you can kind of level up in like certain different areas, but why would you choose anywhere else? Whereas kind of before it was like, oh, I can hit it here or I can hit it here, and I can do the main quest. But I can choose. It tells me I can choose to do for the main quest. I'm completing things in this area, or I can complete things in that area, and then it just allows you a little bit more freedom of choice. That's what this kind of sounds like with the expansions. Do I want to level up in this expansion or this expansion? Was this place my favorite? Was Outlands my favorite? Was the place that's frosty? I can't remember the name of it. Is that it? Pandaria, Mr. Pandaria. Is that it? Is Where is this world that you like to be? Like, where do you want to hit? Yeah. Like,
gives you more of a choice on where you want to do things rather than being like, okay, this is where you should do it flat out. It's more so going wherever you want, really.
And it's a mid-level thing instead of like what I'm expecting to see is like your mid-level, pre-ending of the game is going to be kind of where you want to be and how you want to be, and that's good. Yeah. That's how you kind of want it, right? Your ending, everyone has to complete the same sort of ending, but have the middle ground be like, how do I want to do this? So that when people are like, oh, how did you hit level? It's not just like, oh yeah, so you did this area, and then you hit your level, right? It's like, how did you hit your level? It's like, oh, I went here, and then I went to like this place, and they're like, oh, well, I went to this place.
Yeah.
Kind of how I think that's why people liked Classic is because you definitely could do that. It was like, oh, I just did all the quest line up to this, and then I finally completed one of my quests, and I leveled up.
Yeah, well, there was none of that kind of streamlining you into a certain kind of path or area.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be really cool. I might check it out when it comes out. I usually for every WoW expansion, I play at least a month. Just like I go in for a month and I check it out to see how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming this is going to be out sometime in the middle of next year.
Probably.
I don't think they were out recently date, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And then the last bit of news real quick in BlizzCon that we had, like, bigger news is new expansion for Hearthstone. It's called Descent of the Dragons. There's not a whole lot of, like, talking about it. It's Hearthstone expansion, so it's just a card game and has new stuff to it.
I got so confused there for a second. Sorry, when you said Descent of the Dragons, I thought you said the scent of the Dragons. They stink. And I was like, wait, what? And I had to like lean in to read it just to make sure that it wasn't actually the scent of the dragons.
The scent of the bad dragons.
There's just a bunch of dragons flying around that have like stink lines coming off them.
But it's literally all just like, it's like the main focal point now in this expansion is going to be dragons.
Really?
Apparently, yeah.
I never would have guessed.
you're going to just, man, I've kind of been feeling I want to play Hearthstone lately too, which sucks because
How much has been talked about. I'm like contemplating.
Yeah,
it.
I've been like thinking, but then I'm just like, but Blizzard.
There's a mobile version of it, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
but it's like the same as the PC version, so it's it's compatible.
I might download it so I can play it on my lunch.
I know, but man, I hate Blizzard so much with what they've been doing, but they finally come out with some interesting stuff, and I'm just like, man.
They pick the worst time to do it. It's like, God damn it, I'm supposed to be angry at you, Blizzard.
So it's basically just about dragons. Apparently, they're going to be reworking a lot of the dragon cards to make them a little bit better, probably because they're not as strong as they used to be, and then they're going to be adding in new dragon cards. So that's all there really is for that.
It's Hearthstone, How to Train Your Dragon.
Pretty much, yeah. But real quick, going back to World of Warcraft, we actually had some information about stuff going on at the WoW Classic because we had someone ask about it, and they're talking about potentially opening up the possibility of being able to either go to the Outlands or go to whatever the other area is. Because I can't remember it. I know the main area is Ice Crown Citadel.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name of the island is. I cannot remember it for the life of me. But now I gotta figure it out. Because I know other people are probably like, what is the The place is called Ice Crown. Obviously. Inside of Ice Crown Citadel.
That would make sense.
Or Ice Crown Citadel is inside of Ice Crown.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I'm so sorry, everyone, that I let you down. But no, we found out that World of Warcraft Classic is potentially going to be, at some point, further down the line, obviously, going to be opened up to the expansion of Wrath of the Lich King or the Burning Crusade.
Which would be pretty damn cool.
Considering that those are two of probably the best expansions that have ever...
Not probably. I think it's unanimously agreed that
I know that a lot of people really enjoyed the Burning Crusade, but I think Wrath of the Lich King is probably the best in terms of, the best expansion that came out for World of Warcraft.
But if you had to pick two, it's definitely them.
Oh yeah,
without a doubt,
the two that cemented it. So they said that they would which one would you prefer to see released for WoW Classic first, is when they were talking about it, like asking people, which has me to believe that they'd make it so because the stories are kind of independent of each other.
Yeah.
With the first two expansions, Blizzard did really good with WoW in the sense of that I don't feel like either one was required. It was just like their own separate storyline.
Yeah, like it wasn't a necessity.
So you didn't have to what's the word I'm looking for? Like progress and know everything that goes on.
Yeah, you didn't have to follow the narrative the whole way through.
So that it'd be cool if they made it so you either one, like if Wrath of the Lich King is amazing. Everyone was like, yes, Wrath of the Lich King. Like everyone cheered, the crowd cheered for that one. But they said, we did it before, referencing, obviously WoW Classic. Like they said they couldn't do it, but then they did it.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, we could do that. We could definitely do that before. If they did that, I think I'm trying to figure out how I would like to see it. If I'd like them to just open up WoW Classic to that expansion, or if they just would make maybe a server
specifically for
that. Because I know some people would be upset if they didn't have WoW Classic still, like just the vanilla.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, I've been wondering what I think I'd be more for, and I honestly think just progression, a slow progression through those good expansions would be more worth it.
Yeah.
And having Wrath of the Lich King would mean there's way more content than just even what just Classic offered, and a lot more to do.
Yeah, I don't feel like it would do any damage to WoW Classic having them in it.
No.
I feel like it would just help it because it would just be giving more, and by no means any of it would be bad, so.
You have purists that say, oh, leave it exactly how it is, and then you have pseudo-purists where they say, leave it WoW Classic, but then create new content for WoW Classic. That's stupid.
Yeah, no.
They're not going to do that.
No.
And it makes... Not only are they not going to do it, I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool, but they're not going to do it because that'd be literally creating a whole new game when they already have it created as a whole new thing, sort of, anyways.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I like your idea of maybe having a server that is just WoW Classic as it is, vanilla, and then having one that has the expansions in it.
Yeah, you get the best of
then you can
everything,
you can choose.
Right?
Like, if you just want your plain vanilla WoW Classic experience, that's there for you. You just have to go into that server. But if you want, Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, it's there.
Yeah, I think like Wrath of the Lich King would definitely make me be like, oh my god, here goes all my time again. Because that was like when the classes felt the most balanced. I feel like the PvP was the most fun. Everything was just like super like.
That's when things kind of got like ridiculous for WoW, I think.
Yeah,
like in my memory, it would be Wrath of the Lich King made it kind of the huge. It was always a cult crave, but Wrath of the Lich King took it to a whole other level.
Yeah,
you get people who like never touched WoW in the past were getting into it, and it was just this. It was a massive influx.
Just because the story was good, the gameplay was good. There was so much content to it.
It peaked.
Yeah, it was.
It peaked.
That was, I mean, you can see it in the numbers. It peaked at Wrath of the Lich King in terms of concurrent numbers.
Yeah. So you can only imagine what that would be like on WoW Classic.
So I guess we'll just have to, wait and see if they actually plan on doing it. But I'd like to see it.
I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty dope. But moving on from World of Warcraft to another PC game that's not quite a PC game. Red Dead Redemption 2. Good old Red Dead got its PC release the other day. I think it was yesterday, actually.
Was it yesterday?
I think it was yesterday. But yeah, launched on PC, and as expected, it's been having a bit of a rough time.
I mean, it's a port to the PC, and it's gonna happen. It always happens when you port something, you know what I mean?
It's like, apparently there's a lot of, like, frame issues, there's some small graphical stuff.
There's stutters.
Yeah.
There's, apparently some people are seeing apparently it's like
infinite loading screens.
It's
no
gotta be something with either, like, a memory leak or something with, like, how the CPU is reading the game, because there's apparently spikes in the CPU every time it freezes. And I mean, there are some people that like aren't having any issues, just like how all PC releases are, because your build is like, even if it's amazing, it could not be optimized correctly for what like goes on.
You could be overclocking the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it just makes it poop itself.
So there's people out there that no matter, they have amazing rigs that are like ridiculous, that are having issues, and then there's people out there that have like poopies.
Yeah.
Like poopies PCs that are
like having no issues. Like, oh no, what are you talking about? It's running great.
Yeah, several players are even reporting getting stuck in an infinite loading screen, and there's no fix for that yet. Basically, Rockstar came out and said, there are some issues right now, and they released an FAQ. Yeah. Basically saying, here's like, some common fixes.
Yeah, like troubleshooting tips and stuff like that.
The biggest one everyone seems to be saying as a fix is first update your graphics card. Obviously, you know that.
You think that'd be a given.
But like everyone's saying, do it because that is like a fix for a lot of the issues. If you're having crashes,
some people are like disabling their antivirus and things like that.
Right. Yes. Close down. That's what happens a lot of PC games too. For some reason, the antivirus is like blocking the ability for the game to start.
There's like one little tiny thing in the code somewhere that probably shouldn't be there, that they left in by accident and has no impact on the game itself, but the antivirus is picking it up and bashing its head against the wall repeatedly.
So yeah, they just got some trouble. Rockstar has some crash troubleshooting tips, as well as they released a little mini patch that fixes the launcher. Most people have said it fixed the launcher issue of getting stuck and crashing. Yeah. So that way you can actually at least get into the game,
which is good.
But other than that, I mean, yeah, that's what everyone expected. Yeah. Hopefully, Rockstar just comes out with a patch here soon that just.
There's something else that's come of this as well that I only learnt about before I came down here. A little campaign has started online in the Red Dead Online communities. I like to delve into them quite a bit because it's interesting. I like in-game photography and things like that. On the PC, they released a photo mode.
Okay,
so the way, like in GTA, you could like go into a little editor mode and you could pretty much make movies in it.
Right.
Like you could record your stuff, you could spawn stuff in, make certain effects happen on command. They added that for single player and online, but they have given no notice on whether they're going to bring that to console, and a lot of people are really pissed off about it because they're pretty much going, oh well, we have this big massive community of thousands. Those thousands are now going to go down to a couple of hundred because half of us don't go on PC.
There you go.
Which is like, Rockstar's at it again. But this time it's not just Xbox they're forgetting.
Disparaging console players. I mean, I think it's just time for everyone to just upgrade to a computer. PC Master Race.
But like, when the game's already out on it, and you're releasing content for it on another version, the game's only been out a year, that's a bit douchey.
Yeah, and you're only putting it on that one platform.
You're like completely ignoring the others.
That's the platform bias, bro. We already know this. We already know that there's a platform bias for certain games, but for anything.
But Rockstar's like the worst at it at the moment.
Yeah,
they're not even been subtle about it anymore.
Yeah, they're shitheads.
It's so sad.
Moving on from that though, and going on to something else. I guess it's not controversial, but it's something where you're having like kind of like polarizing sort of takes on it.
Diversive.
Is the Death Stranding critic reviews have finally been allowed to be released. I think like just a couple days ago.
The game's out, isn't it?
The game's out the 8th, so it's out in 2 days.
Okay, yeah.
But critics got their copy and they were allowed to start posting reviews the 1st of November, I believe, is what it was. And we got quite a few reviews that came out for it on. I think it was by the 4th of November, like 4 days before the game came out.
Yeah,
they were supposed to be done with reviews, like that, because basically when you get it early, like they give you like a deadline.
Yeah, you have a cutoff day.
Or it could have been the 1st. I'm not even sure. I just know that like some of the last stuff I've seen has been for like there's a couple that have reviews out the 4th. Maybe they weren't supposed to be. Maybe the 1st was the deadline a week before the game came out, so they had to get it out then. So there was a couple of critics that came out and said, "Hey, like we weren't able to get it out in time, and because we're not waiting till the release to put it out because we think it'll be too pointless at that point." Because to be honest,
you've already decided whether you're going to buy the game anyways at that point.
and then they even some of them even said, and to be honest, our take on it isn't favorable. So we're not even going to talk about it because we're not thinking about it being important to talk about. Now, the critic reviews averaged right now are at a pretty decent score of 84.
Yeah.
For the game. I don't know if that's skewed because a lot of people seem like, I'll say right off the top that it seems like a lot of people are kind of giving it a score that I know that it shouldn't be, like even without playing the game, just based on what it looks like.
Yeah.
It seems like there's quite a few 100s coming out for a game that even if in those 100 scores, they've said that the gameplay is lackluster, which is a little odd to me.
It makes no sense. I feel like that would, dock some at least.
Because to me, a game is gameplay. Like, yes, the story can be amazing.
It's a big part of it, but the gameplay is just important.
It's like the Outer Worlds. I think the Outer Worlds, story-wise, I think was pretty darn good, but gameplay did have some lacking factors, so I docked some points because I thought it was lacking in something.
Like, it's really important. If you have a game that has a phenomenal story, but it's just a pain to play, it's not a good game. But if you have a game that's really fun to play, but has the most lackluster story, it's not a good game. I.e., Destiny 1 had no story. It was fun to play, but had zero story. So it wasn't, a fantastic game.
Yeah, you have to have some
balance.
Some balance there, and I think you have to be willing to cut some things out. If you like Kojima and you liked the game's story a lot, I don't know if it's 100 worthy, but that's also where it comes into where scores are biased and you should never trust them anyways.
Yeah.
But based on most of the reviews of what we can look at when we're, scrolling down, looking through the critic reviews is, I think me and you both have seen kind of what we've already interpreted, right? I think we kind of guessed what the game would be like, right? And what it seems like the general consensus is for most people, the gameplay is at best okay, whereas the story and the cinematics and the storyline and the story parts of the gameplay, everyone is great.
It's mind-blowing, it's phenomenal, which is believable. But going off all the trailers and stuff like that, it's okay, yeah. We can kind of tell that already.
And they're saying that because also the game isn't as cryptic as people made it seem it was. It has its things, but the story is more. It was fleshed out in your. It
was really good marketing for the story.
Yes,
of kind of making you ask questions and wanting to know these answers, and then getting into the game and then going, well, we're going to give you every bit of information you want.
So I think it's kind of like a mix of what me and you both said.
Yeah.
Is you were saying how you think it's not going to make sense through all of it, and at the end you
there'll be that one moment.
and I said I think it's going to be kind of what's going on throughout the game, and then the end wraps it all in together.
Yeah.
And apparently it's kind of a mixture where you you know what's going on throughout the game, but at the end of it slaps you in the face. It's not just like, oh, it wraps it together, it slaps you in the face.
You still have that, ending.
so like, I think it was kind of what we both expected anyways.
Together we got it right.
And it's interesting because I knew, I could tell by the gameplay that I remember talking when we were talking about, I was like, I really don't think the gameplay is going to be that, based on what I've seen, it doesn't look interesting.
I remember at one point we compared it to Metal Gear Solid 5's gameplay. Where it looked really similar to it.
Yes, except for without the actual, like, combat aspects of it.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we don't know how it's going to hold up. I mean, peeing is cool, but how does that have any influence on anything? Like, setting up ladders to climb up stuff is
infinite ladders.
But it still seems like, how is that, like, continue to be fun?
I'd give the game a 100 if I could pee off the ladder.
I'd give any game a 100 if I could pee off.
To, like, grow a mushroom out of the ground so I can jump on it like Super Mario.
That sounds cool. Well, according to what people have said, it's very... The story is good because there's, like, a thing behind it, right? And there's a main point. It's silly, it's absurd in some parts, it's corny at some parts, and there's, like, different threads, but you get it. Like, it's hard to absorb because there's a lot to it.
It's like a Kojima game.
Yes.
There's parts that are really good and really serious, there's parts that are funny, and then there's parts that just are so off the wall you don't want to talk about them.
But I don't know. I think this is like, it comes into, like, for me, like, a big thing of where, like, another reason of why I don't like actual review numbers, like scores of it, like listening to them anyways, is
it's so biased and so subjective.
Because, you know, me and Kyle went through and we read a lot of the reviews.
Oh, we read a few of them, yeah.
Just to get like a good idea of seeing what the critics were saying. And it does seem like the consensus is that overall, the actual main gameplay is pretty bad. Yeah. Like, most of them said it was hard to get through the main gameplay. Yeah. Like it sucked to play the main gameplay. The only
difference is being people going, oh, it's really slow and hard to get through, and that's a bad thing. And then people going, oh, it's really slow and hard to get to, but that only adds to it.
Yes.
It's it's very much two sides of it.
Where I think if you're like a person that is kind of smart and understands that a game is a game, that if a game is hard to get through, the gameplay is just not fun. So don't say that it's good. Don't say that the gameplay is worth it if it's not fun.
As a game, that's a bad thing to have, but something that we'll probably say a lot of, as a movie, that's something a movie can do very well.
Yes.
There's a part of a movie that's really slow and really hard to get through, that can ultimately add to something later on in the movie.
Exactly. Whereas, like, the gameplay doing it, because you're in control of it, and you're not just watching it, the whole reason you want to be in control is because it's fun to be in control. I want to be Iron Man because being Iron Man is super fun of flying around. But if I'm being Iron Man where I'm sitting at a desk and I'm coming up with like the paperwork for the business,
I don't want to have to sit there and polish my helmet.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
That's not fun. And I think that's like, it's just, what we can see is, this is what we're gonna see with the reviews of people, is it's gonna be kind of the same thing. I guarantee we're gonna have a lot of people saying, like when users can, and like consumers can actually review it, you're gonna see a lot, except for I think they're gonna be a little bit more harsh, because they understand the game aspect of it.
Yeah.
Whereas critics look at it as artwork
as a
little
piece
bit more.
Of art. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this is wrong, I'm just saying...
that's a right way to critique something, but you should also critique it the other way as well.
Yes.
You should go, as an art piece, this is phenomenal and might be deserving as 100. But as a game, not so much.
Yeah. So I think what we're gonna see is if overall, based on what we can see, main gameplay is boring. The story gameplay, when you actually get into the story bits of it and you're like moving it around and you're kind of having like the stealthy encounters, but then you're also having like maybe like a little bit of combat.
It's great.
Apparently that's really good. I don't know if most people haven't explained if it's really good because of the story aspect or if it's really good because it's actually well done mechanically.
I think it's going to be a bit of both, because it's I'm just going to compare it to Metal Gear Solid 5 gameplay wise, where it's like just running around doing stuff in MGS5 was like
yeah, running around and getting places and
don't really care about this.
But when you got to the area,
in a mission, everything just tied together so perfectly, and it just was like, yeah, I like this.
So we look for that for gameplay. In terms of like the direction of the story, if you like convoluted stories, it's going to be really good. And if you're fine with like kind of like sifting through the gameplay, the story is amazing and you're gonna enjoy it. If you are the type of person that likes very, very simple stories of there's bad guy, there good guy beat bad guy, you might not enjoy this. But
yeah, if
you might not looking for that in video games nowadays.
You might not enjoy this, and you've probably never enjoyed a Kojima game ever.
Yes,
because I don't think he's ever made a game like that.
Yeah, so you're looking at it from the standpoint of gameplay, not good. Story, artwork, visuals, and like the movie aspect of it, of what it like, you know, is as, more as a movie, is going to be really good. If you're fine with dealing with bad gameplay to have a really, really good story that you enjoy, you'll enjoy this, I think.
See, I'm that type of person. Even if something's bad, but I'm enjoying one aspect of it, I'll keep playing it. It's like I'm playing through Breakpoint at the moment, which is so broken. It's so broken, but I keep playing it just because I really like John Bernthal.
To me, it depends on how bad the gameplay is. If it's 60 hours of monotonous bullshit, I can't do it. There's a reason why, like, I enjoyed...
It's FedEx the game.
There's a reason why I enjoyed the Phantom Pain up until, like, the midpoint, and then it wanted me to do more of, like, the pointless shit in between, is because I played 60 hours up until the midway point, and then I got to the end, and there was more, and I was like, that was a good enough story for what I had right there. I could keep playing, but I don't want to do more of the monotonous stuff.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to go back to it and give it another try, but this time not focus on because I thought side missions would be more impactful.
Oh god, no.
But instead, it means almost nothing. Like not necessarily side missions, but going into the open world and
like doing stuff. Get this blueprint.
It did change like where your people were and where they had, and I thought that was cool. It felt like a real world, but in that sense, it took the boringness of the real world of like, okay,
nothing's gonna happen for the next hour now because John over here got in a fight and he's in the break.
Yeah. So I think that if you like Kojima games, you're gonna like this, but you might not like the gameplay. And if you can deal with that, you're gonna have a good game.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. And then for you, saying that you consider going back to Phantom Pain, the second half of the game, there's probably 2 missions that are worth it.
Well, I've heard that Phantom Pain, the ending of Phantom Pain, because obviously what happened between Kojima and Konami,
it was thrown together.
They rushed the ending part together because he wanted like another year on the game.
Oh yeah, he wanted.
He wanted like 7 years on it. He wanted it to be the definitive game.
The game it's 2 parts. He wanted it to be 3.
Yeah, and
he had a whole other like third to the game that he wanted to make.
But because it got rushed along, and then Konami had to finish it up. It was rushed, and it
was bad.
The ending, I heard pretty much that everything, if you liked everything else about it, everything up until literally like the final ending bits of the story were good, and then the ending bits of the story made you upset because it made the other parts not good.
It had beats that were good. There was moments that made you go like, that's actually pretty cool. But then everything in between it was kind of like, I don't like this.
Yeah. So, anyways, when it comes to this, we'll have to wait and see when it's actually out, like what goes on. Maybe I'll see some gameplay videos.
I'll probably just watch it as a movie, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to debate if I wait until it comes out on PC and just look at it and play it then. I don't know. I don't know at the moment. It doesn't. I don't think it's going to be my game.
See, I don't have a PC to run it or PlayStation 4, so I think I'll just watch it.
Yeah.
I think I'll just wait until freaking the NK Fire Nice on YouTube puts up his little cutscene compliment video that's like 3 hours long. I just don't think I'll be the type that's gonna want to sit through that type of game because it looks like it has a story that I'll love, but I just don't want any of the gameplay. Based on what I've read so far, the gameplay sounds like the thing that'd be funny, cool, interesting about twice, and apparently you do it like 1,000 times. For like a couple hours. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they just should have made the whole game a big Conan cameo. On a positive note, Kojima's production studios are going to be doing movies. They announced that they will be doing movies in the future. Which I think we mentioned at one point that we would probably see Death Stranding spin off into a movie. Yeah. And I think that's just like a quick little tidbit of information I thought was cool is
People want him to do movies. They admitted that they will be doing movies at some point.
I'm not surprised. He's always said that he wanted to make movies but could never get into the business.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is.
And he works for Sony now, and Sony Studios will bankroll anything.
Exactly, and I think that it'd be really good. I think you could see some really interesting, weird shit.
I feel
it's
like
all going to be weird shit still, but I think if it's not and Kojima does it, I don't want to watch it because it means that it's boring.
But it's Kojima. He can't not do weird shit.
Exactly. It's got to be weird shit.
Yeah, if he does movies, I feel like if he does movies and he can do it the way he wants them, I wouldn't be surprised in another 5-8 years if he was like a big name in movies.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Like I can very well see that.
Speaking about movies. But not because it's TV instead.
Speaking about things that could possibly go 8 years into the future.
The Witcher TV show has plans for 7 seasons.
Yeah, so the showrunner Lauren S. Hissage has come out and said that they have 7 seasons mapped out of development for characters and story.
Real quick, if you hear noise, it's raining.
Yeah.
And it's probably annoying, but we're wrapping this up, so don't worry.
Yeah, it's the last one. This will be quick. So yeah, she said that they have 7 seasons mapped out. Only 1 season has been greenlit so far, obviously. But this is very, very interesting, especially for a Netflix show.
To have 7 seasons already planned out.
Yeah.
And hope that it's going to be...
And with Netflix already kind of giving them a nod to start working on a second... when they got the proposal for the first in. Well, they haven't greenlit a second. Netflix did kind of say, if you want to start working on it, go ahead. In like their roundabout way of going, this shit's good. If this works when it's released, you're getting a second season.
Yeah. Like, let's see the first couple days worth of views. If that's acceptable, you're going to get another.
If you have a good launch, you're getting another season.
So I kind of gave you my concerns with this in the sense of I think it's cool. It's nice to see that they have like something planned, like in the works, like they're willing to do that automatically from the start. I think it's a little weird to me because it depends on how they're planning on the 7 seasons, and if it means if they're writing the story and it comes out where, you know, I was kind of worried that if it comes out where they're able, let's say they're able to tell the main brunt of the story within 4 seasons efficiently. But they need to
stretch
it because they plan for extra. Like, you know, if you say you have 7 seasons planned out and like mapped out and like you can get it done, and you like get the second season greenlit and the first 2 seasons go well, you're probably gonna get an extra 5 seasons if 2 seasons go. So it
as long as there's no outside drama.
And once that happens, now you're stuck in. You have to do. Yeah. Those 5 extra seasons, those 7 seasons, which means if you feel like you could have got it told in 3 or 4 seasons, like I said, then now you have 3 extra seasons that now you have to figure out a whole new thing for. So that 7 seasons that you had planned actually is...
You gotta stretch it out.
Is you had 4 seasons planned, like, actually to make it work, and now you have to have 3 seasons or 3 seasons worth of episodes that stretch out the main story to get to that 7th season, and it worries me because I'm not saying it will go that way. I'm saying
but it could.
It can now. Yeah.
It'd be kind of like going back when we were talking about Stranger Things, where the showrunners said that they had a certain amount of seasons in mind, and that they didn't want to go further than that unless they had story to go that far.
And then like, you know, afterwards they came out specifically and said like, oh no, this ends in 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, they're like,
this ends in then, and that was their way of saying, we know that this story is only going that long, and if it goes longer, it's not going to be anything that we envisioned with it. It's going to be too much of the same thing, or just different thing, but not as good as what we wanted.
Or like Better Call Saul, I don't know if you watch it. The new season is coming out next year, I think.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was at the start of last season, the showrunner said that it was going to be the season afterwards, and that was it. That he only had the show planned for that far.
And I think
that he doesn't want to go any further than that. So it's his kind of way of going, if it does go further, I'm either been pushed to do it, or I've got this great idea.
Yeah. And I think that's what it comes down to is, I think this is a fine thing for the showrunner here. But I think that she needs to remember that the first season's not out yet.
Yeah.
And while it may be done for the most part, and maybe the second season is being worked on, remember that your idea of what pans out can alter way differently when you see the reaction to, like, if the first season people are like, oh, this is really great, but I didn't like how they did this with this, then that might alter, I can't do that like that in the future because people really don't resonate with it. So I
need to take that out, I need to do this bit faster, do this bit with a bit more pizzazz, or maybe do this bit a bit shorter. And it's like, okay, if that's going to knock on to a next season, that's going to have a knock on to every other plan that we have.
Exactly. And that's where my concern comes from. It's not, it's that you're not started yet, but you have an ending basically 7 years down the line already.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me, is the fact that you haven't even started.
And you already have an idea of when it's going to end.
Yes.
Which I get a lot of people like to have an idea of where they're going when they're making stuff, like to have the goal that they're building to. But I hope that it literally is just mapped out, as in, we have a loose idea of where we want this to go.
A goal of, like, what I would think would be nice, but not a set-in-stone plan.
Yeah, like, this would be cool if it could go for 7 seasons, and we could make it go for 7 seasons, just thinking about it here real quick, but have it up to heavy change. It's like, we'd like it to go 7 seasons, but if we can get our story told in 5, we'll do 5. We won't push it.
I think don't put yourself beholden to something that you're going to be forced to, like, have to do the output for. It's like, I'll put it a good way. It's like J.K. Rowling, how she was writing the books for herself, right?
Yeah.
And the books, the first few books were great, and I'm not saying that the next few weren't great, right? But in terms of what it was, she put herself in a thing where it was like, oh, well, now I'm planned for writing this many things.
Yeah.
And it came to the point where once you hit the end of it, you're kind of like, I would have liked it if you would have just they would have been written better. The ending, like the last few books would have been written better if you would have not beholden yourself to you needed to write them, but you were just writing them because you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like R.R. Martin.
Good old George R.R. Martin.
Yes.
Gurm.
He has those books written, like, yes, he's taken forever on this last one, but, like, he didn't beholden himself to it to where it needed to be out. And
he's doing it at his own pace.
Because he knew that quality would suffer
if he tried to rush it out.
Because he wanted to be what he wanted to do. He wanted to write it.
Yeah.
He did.
That's what, you know what I mean? Of why I like him so much. It's like, I want to write this. I'm still writing this because I want to write it no matter how big it's gotten. So it'll come out when I'm ready for it to come out.
Yes.
Not when you're ready for it to come out. Whereas the likes of, like, the last Harry Potter books that more so came out when the people were ready for it. And to go alongside the movies and things like that.
And that's why when you, like, look at, like, the movies of, like, what is it, Fantastic Beasts?
Yeah.
But, like, the movies, I think, are pretty good because when it came out, I don't think that they like had that thought process of this is going to be when they first started working on it, they were like, oh, this is just like a little side project and we'll have maybe like a little side movie.
Yeah, they didn't think it would be as big a franchise.
And then they came out, and then when they came out the second one, I think the second one was really good, but you could start the feeling of like, oh, they're turning this into
it had a lot of
planned
issues.
franchise now. And you could tell the difference, where, like, the first one felt so heartfelt and natural.
Yeah.
Where the second one felt it was good, but it didn't feel heartfelt and natural.
Yeah. Had none of the soul.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, it's that the third one has gone into pre-production the other day. And it's given a release date for 2021.
Yeah. It comes down to where, yeah, like, and with The Witcher, going back into that is, I just hope that they don't pre-plan themselves into something where it's not got that heart of, like, it's different to be like, oh, I want to make this, and I want to make 3 of these, and I kind of have an idea, and that's different than, like, oh, I have this idea, I don't know how many things it can be, but I know that if I do 3 or 4, that I'll be able to milk it that far. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's different than being like, oh, I think that I think this is what I want. And if I'm thinking about how it's paced, maybe I could get 3.
They should do it as much as they feel like it should be and could be, while keeping it good. Be that
Yes.
3 seasons, 7 seasons, or 12 seasons.
Yeah.
If they go, look, we've gotten to a point now in the show where we don't feel like we're comfortable ending it until season 12.
Then yeah,
It's
fine.
like, do you have that in mind? Do you know how that's going to go for those seasons?
Do you want?
And if they go, yeah, this is exactly like the feel of it, the heart is there, and then it's like, right, do it then.
Do you really think that?
But
you
if you're at season 7 and be like, oh, it could end here, but we could go further.
Do you really think that anybody really wants to have to try and endure another The Walking Dead, like another franchise to become like The Walking Dead TV series?
Well, I never have too much Witcher. I'm very biased when it comes to this.
But I'm talking about in the sense of where you feel like every next part, next season, next episode, next everything is created simply because they know that people watch it and make money.
Oh, and that's not why I'd want it.
No.
I'd only want it to go for that long if they felt like that was the natural progression of it.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you want 12 seasons of something because it's amazing and it comes out like that and it just comes out amazing?
God, yes.
Do you want 12 seasons because you purposely didn't tell the story in a certain time frame? I'm Walking Dead. Because you wanted to have a whole subplot that wasn't good but can continue on like with a thing? Not once, not twice, but I think 3 or 4 different subplots that weren't good but were able to continue on a story to hold it back enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Negan should have came in 3 seasons before, like, all the other subplot, because the subplot could have gotten through and pushed that point.
Yeah.
And then it got pushed back so far, and then after that, now Negan is still a subplot of something. Like, you know, the comics are fine. The comics, like, do that too,
Yeah, it kind of
but they do it
reminds
in
me
a way of...
Where it
makes
works,
sense.
it's paced well. So it kind of reminds me of, like, Dragon Ball Z, where it's like
Yeah.
they had enough, like, major story for maybe about 4 episodes.
Yeah, except for...
and then needed 20 filler episodes.
Except for imagine that, you know, except for it's not an anime where that's presented in the way that that's how it's going to be. You know what I mean? Imagine One Piece, 930 episodes,
Jeez,
right?
yeah.
I think it's what it's at. Imagine
Probably
though
like 700
if that
episodes
was
into
like
that.
a TV show that like, and it wasn't an anime.
Yeah, and it was actual people, and they were getting older.
They were getting older, and the story was like had no like constituency, like it was just like what it was. You know what I mean? It'd be horrible
Like
because
a
watching
never-ending, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like Black Mirror, where it's a series, but it's an independent story every episode. Anthology? That's what I'm looking for? It was like an anthology, but every now and again you got a connected story.
It's just it makes no sense. It just wouldn't make no sense because, like, the reason why an anime can have those one-offs, like several times throughout a season of something that's not connected to the story is because animes are goofy and there can be a goofy plot line that makes no sense and you know it's just there, even though it's a filler, you know it's there because it's a goofy subplot and it can be funny and goofy or weird.
Like Goku can be charging up a spirit bomb for 20 episodes, and that's okay because it's an anime.
Well, yes. And the thing is like, and you know that that's part of the main plot line. Whereas when there's like the filler episodes of, you know, with that he's charging up, but in the background it was usually like something completely unrelated.
Yeah,
and like
it's not like, oh, this really important plot point is happening, and now next week we're going to talk about Jared, a character we've never met before, and he'll die by the end of the episode.
In a TV show, that doesn't work because it's you're following the lines of people.
It's more of a linear narrative.
Yes. So I don't know. Anyways, long story short, I'm looking forward to the show. December it comes out.
December 20th.
Let's see how the first season goes before we start finalizing 7 seasons, please.
I'd love 7 seasons,
but they're good.
But don't force it.
Yes. But with that, I think that's the end of the 19th episode that we didn't mention.
We never mentioned it.
Of the podcast. That means the next episode
is episode 20,
which means you have to make a cake,
and we have to live stream ourselves eating it.
Us eating it and doing the podcast.
Okay.
Are you ready for that?
Oh, I'm so ready for that.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna like book the day off work Gonna make sure that I'm not in work on Wednesday, so I have the day for it.
And it'll be a grand time. We'll love every second of it. We hope you're all ready. We'll still put it on Podbean and everything like that.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
keep the
but
audio from it.
But it'll just be like ASMR.
I'm gonna have to do so much editing just to cut down how much pointless bullshit there'll probably be in there.
It'd be so much. So we just do like a topicless episode?
Yeah,
where we just ramble for an hour,
we could do
2 hours.
Well, it's gonna be live stream, so we could like ramble for even long. We could just do a live stream and we go through and we look at stuff that we want to talk about.
Yeah, we can just like do it on the fly.
Full on, just
Like,
doing it.
No prep beforehand, just jump right into it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That'd be pretty fun, actually.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm actually looking forward to that now.
End of episode 19 though. We love you guys.
You're the best.
We appreciate you.
We love you.
And we can't wait to see you next week for the Cake Eating Live podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye.